Is it possible to make a homemade pizza from scratch for less than £1 without any fancy equipment? Well, let's find out. All of the ingredients in today's video were bought from one of the leading supermarkets here in the UK, and the prices were accurate at the time of filming this video. To make the pizza dough, place 7 grams of fast action yeast into 325 millilitres of tepid water. Give it a mix and leave it to one side for about 5 minutes until it foams up. Next, place 500 grams of bread flour into a mixing bowl and add in 5 grams of salt. Give it a mix and make a well in the centre. Next, pour in the yeast and water and give it a mix until it comes together to form a dough. Once the dough comes together, turn it out onto a lightly floured workbench and knead the dough until it becomes smooth and stretchy and all that gluten has been worked. This will take around 5 to 10 minutes, but just move it around and roll it about and stretch it until it feels a lot smoother and a lot more stretchy. Roll it into a ball and cut it into 4 equal portions. Next, take each piece of dough and roll them into balls. Just place your hand over the top of the dough and press gently down towards the workbench, and the friction between the bench and your hands will create a ball as you roll your hand around. We only need to make 2 pizzas today, so with the other 2 pieces of dough, I'm going to place them into freezer bags and just drop them in the freezer until I'm ready to use them. Once they're frozen, if you do want to use them on that day, I recommend getting them out on the morning, place them in the fridge to defrost, and then take them out of the fridge 1 hour before you want to use it. At this stage, you can also place the dough balls into the fridge and leave them to slowly prove overnight. If you want to use it straight away, just lightly flour the workbench again and then place the dough balls onto it and then flour over the top and cover with a damp cloth and leave it for at least 1 hour, but ideally 2 hours, just to prove and relax. While the pizza dough is resting, we'll make a nice quick pizza sauce. This one doesn't take any cooking, it's just a nice fresh sauce, and honestly it tastes delicious. So all you need for that is 150 grams of tomato passata or a tomato puree, and then into that we're going to place 1 teaspoon of dried oregano and then add in a pinch of salt and black pepper. Then we're going to peel and crush 1 clove of garlic and place it into the sauce and mix everything together. Now it's really important that you taste the sauce so you can get the seasoning just right. If you need a little bit more salt and pepper, just add it to taste. If you find the tomatoes are a little bit too acidic, just add in a little sprinkle of sugar and that should take away some of that acidity. But I don't feel mine needs it. Perfect. Now at this stage it's important to preheat the oven about 20 minutes before we cook the pizzas. And we need the oven as hot as we can possibly get it. In my case that's 250 degrees Celsius. And also preheat it with the trays that you're going to cook them on in the oven as well. Next, I'm going to show you how to stretch out the dough without using a rolling pin. So uncover your dough and lightly flour your bench. Place your dough ball into the centre and place a bit of flour on top of that as well. And then just from the centre, press out towards the edges, and you might hear some of the air bubbles pop as you're doing this, and just keep pressing until you've got a saucer-like shape around, which will eventually be the crust. Then flip it over and do the same again. At that stage you want to pick it up and just gently stretch it out with your knuckles until it gets to the size that you want it and you have a beautiful thin crust. Take a sheet of greaseproof paper and place your pizza base onto that. I'll explain why later on. Next, share your pizza sauce over the 2 bases and then swirl it around using the back of a ladle or the back of a spoon until it goes just to the edges. You want to leave the crusts without any of the sauce on. And then take 1 ball of fresh mozzarella and just tear it up and share it over the 2 pizzas. I like to leave it just as it is, as a plain tomato and mozzarella pizza, but if you want to add extra toppings you can, and I'll show you on this one here. We're just going to add some diced onion, some diced peppers and a few cherry tomatoes that I've cut in half. But of course you can add any toppings you like. You can get your pepperoni on there and maybe even some pineapple. I don't know, you do you. Once your toppings are on, it's time to bake them in the oven. Now we're going to carefully take the hot trays from the oven and then slide the pizzas onto them. The reason they're on parchment paper is so they can slide on nice and easily. Bake them until you can see the crusts go nice, golden and crisp. And the mozzarella cheese is beautifully melted. This should take anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. These ones took around 7 minutes, but it does depend on how hot your oven can go. Finally, I like to finish them with a few fresh basil leaves, but that's completely optional. You don't have to do that if you don't like basil. So there you have it, homemade pizza made from scratch for less than £1 per portion. Now, I don't think it can get any better than that. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and if you've got any questions, do leave them in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.